What's going on, you guys? My name's Ty Knots and welcome to Top 5 Unknowns. 5 people you should never Google. Number 5. Paul John Knowles is an American man who's known to have taken the lives of at least 20 people, though some say his victim count is closer to 35. He was born in Orlando, Florida, though his parents sent him into foster care after he'd been involved in a series of crimes when he was younger. While in prison, Knowles is known to have befriended a woman who had been recently divorced. He then manipulated her into paying all of his prison bills, as well as helping him become free. He was soon released, though within days the girl broke it off with him. Because of this, it's rumored that he then took the lives of 3 innocent people in a fit of rage, though this has never been confirmed. Knowles' crime spree then took place between July of 1974 and November of 1974, with him allegedly claiming the lives of some 35 people. After the spree, Knowles was tracked down by a police officer who then pulled him over as he was traveling down the highway. However, Knowles then wrestled the officer to the ground, stole his gun and car, and fled. He continued down the road for quite some time, but eventually lost control and hit a tree. After fleeing on foot, he was captured by a civilian with a shotgun who then held him hostage and called police. Once in police custody, Knowles passed away. The official report is the police took him into a wooded area where he'd allegedly ditched a handgun earlier that day. Upon arriving alongside the 2 officers, it's alleged that he attempted to steal one of the officers' guns, with the other officer then shooting him 3 times, with him passing away instantly. Number 4. Tsutomu Miyazaki is a Japanese man who's known to have taken the lives of 4 young girls, with him specifically being charged with vampirism and preservation of body parts. Tsutomu is known to have had a fairly rough life, being unable to attend a proper college or start a family of his own. By the time he was 45, he was still living with his parents, working odd jobs just to get by. He's said to have only ever received support from his grandfather, with the rest of his family despising him. When his grandfather passed away in 1988, Tsutomu's crime spree began. Between August of 1988 and June of 1989, Tsutomu is known to have viciously taken the lives of 4 young girls. Afterward, he performed sexual acts on their decomposing bodies, drank blood of one of the victims, and ate a portion of her hand. After he performed these acts on the girls, he would write detailed letters of what he'd done to them and send them to the victims' families. In one instance, he's known to have sent a girl's family the ashy remains of her body, as well as teeth he'd removed and photos of her clothing. Tsutomu was arrested in a public park in 1989 and was imprisoned for the next 19 years. He was then hanged in 2008. Number 3. In October of 2006, a young girl by the name Nikki Katsuras lost her life after losing control of her father's Porsche 911. While traveling at extremely high speeds, she collided with a toll booth, resulting in the car being totaled and her body being dramatically disfigured. After the crash, while police were instructed to keep her photos private, not even showing them to the family, 2 officers admitted to leaking these photos to friends who then dispersed them around the internet. Leading up to the crash, Katsuras is said to have been traveling around Lake Forest at speeds well over 100 miles per hour. She then clipped the corner of a Honda Civic which she was attempting to pass, which sent her car into the aforementioned toll booth. Following the crash, coroners did not allow the family to identify the daughter's body, believing it would simply do more harm than good. However, after the photos had been leaked online, the family was taunted with the photos regularly. In fact, the girl's father is known to have received countless emails from anonymous individuals who'd labeled the photos with harmless and enticing titles, such as "Woohoo Daddy, I'm Still Alive." The email would then be opened and a mangled picture of their daughter would be seen. Following this, the family sued the police department responsible for leaking the photographs. It took them 6 years to reach a settlement, but they were eventually awarded $2.37 million in damages. Number 2. Bud Dwyer was the state treasurer of Pennsylvania from 1981 until 1987, when he passed away. In the 1980s, during Bud's term as treasurer, it was determined that many state workers had overpaid their taxes due to a mistake made by the state. While accounting firms were hard at work determining how each worker should appropriately be refunded and sending in bids to the state, word came out that Bud had allegedly received a bribe from a California firm, the same firm that ultimately issued the winning bid for the job. Bud was then charged for the crime, though he insisted that he was innocent in being framed. His trial lasted until January of the following year, and throughout this time he'd been questioned and interviewed countless times, with his story always being that he was framed and did nothing wrong. This lasted until January 22nd, 1987, the day before Bud was scheduled to be sentenced for his crimes. While taking part in a television interview about his trial, Bud pulled out a gun and shot himself on live TV, ending his own life. Many believe that he did this due to the fact that he'd been falsely accused of a crime that he didn't commit. Though in 2010, some 23 years later, it was finally determined that Bud had in fact accepted a bribe. He left behind a wife and 2 children. Number 1. Albert Desalvo is a man from Boston known to have taken the lives of at least 13 women in the Boston area between 1962 and 1964. Throughout Albert's childhood, his father is known to have been a violent man and an alcoholic. He's known to have knocked out the majority of his wife's teeth and even forced her fingers back far enough that each of them broke, all in front of their children. These acts are believed to have left Albert severely damaged, with him ultimately falling into a life of crime at an early age. As a child, he's known to have assaulted animals for fun and begun shoplifting. Before he was 18, Albert had been arrested for battery, robbery, and grand theft auto. He was eventually enlisted in the military, but was honorably discharged twice. Albert's crime spree then began, and lasted from June of 1962 until January of 1964, during which time he strangled and took the lives of 13 women between the ages of 19 and 85. For this, Albert was sentenced to life in prison in 1967, though within a month he had escaped alongside 2 other inmates. He left a note saying that he escaped just to prove how insecure the facility was. 3 days later, he turned himself in and was sent to a maximum security prison. Just 6 years later, in November of 1963, Albert was found to have been stabbed, with him passing away just a short while later. The attacker was never caught, and the motive behind the attack has never been determined. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.